All right, now we're going to talk about panel mapping. If you go to your home screen from your home button right here, it's going to be under config. Everything we're talking about right now is under config. We've named the inputs. Again, down here are three options under config, are apply control, ebox, input, and then panel. So if we want to assign these panels, we click on this button, panel assign. So now over here on the left, we see the inputs that we have named. And on the right, we see the buttons, the corresponding buttons that we're going to assign them to. Some TDs like the very first button to be black on the switcher. Some TDs like it to be start with camera 1 down there. That way they don't accidentally hit black, and they'll put black somewhere else on the board if they need to fade to black or route black to some destination with an aux. But for our purposes here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I got black here in just a second, but I'm going to start with black on button number 1. Now, button number 2, I'm going to assign my input 1, which is camera 1, to button number 2, and all I have to do here is hit assign. Now, you notice whenever it did do that, it's already jumped down now on the input to camera 2, and it's waiting for me. It thinks that I'm probably going to assign the next input to button number 3, and it's right. I am actually going to do that, but I might not do that, and we'll show you different how other inputs can be assigned to these buttons. But for this purpose, I'm just going to go sequentially. It's going to go camera 1. I hit assign. It's just going to go straight down the line for me. It's very easy, so you can actually set this part up if you've already named all your inputs, which I would always do first. That way you know exactly what order you're putting in here on the buttons. I'm going to go playback A, playback B, graphics A, graphics B, and then we've got, let's say we have prompter on the show as well. And even though we're not taking prompter as a source to any record for most practical purposes, but we are going to be routing prompter to various locations, mostly downstage monitors with the oxes that we'll talk about later. So I'm going to go ahead and route prompter into the board as well. And then you'll see that there are some other inputs here that nothing have happened to, and they are assigned sequentially as well by default. But I can, and I like to do this, I don't like to have a bunch of numbers all over the board. After I've got my defined inputs, I will then go down to the next button that's not being used, which is 8, and I'm going to assign none. I don't want anything there at all. I don't want to accidentally hit it, and I don't want to see it on my LCD printout either on the board. I just want it to be blank. So I'm going to go assign none to all these different inputs, all the way down to 15. Now, you can assign more than just the inputs that you defined to the different buttons. You want to assign color bars. You want to assign color backgrounds and blacks. You want to assign maybe the half ME as well to the program. Anything that you want to appear in the board that you might need to route or show somewhere, you want to have assigned to a button. So remember back up here when I had black in on 1, I actually found that down here. When you get past all the first 24 inputs, you'll see black here right after input 24, and that's what I did, was assigned black to input 1. You might want it to be input 15, you don't know. Also, you'll see here are the color backgrounds, color 1, 2, 3. We have 3 background generators that we can assign. We may not need any color background. We don't care about color, in which case I would again assign that to none all the rest of the way across the bus, so I don't ever have to see it or accidentally hit it. We have color bars, which we have is COLT. You can assign white. The RAM recorders are right here. If we had them, you can assign those to inputs as well. Here is actually, these are program preset outputs that we'll talk a little bit more about later, because sometimes you might want to have, normally we would use the preview program or preview preset A, but you might also want to have another feed that's a clean feed and another feed that is something different. But four different feeds there. We'll talk about that later. But this is how you can assign them. And then same with the previews and programs of all the different buses as well. You can assign those, and they are by default assigned over here already in yellow right there. There's the Emmy half and the preview preset on 21 and 22, and then on the shift key we've got some other stuff as well. Under all bus row, you can assign inputs to oxes versus program buses, but probably not a good idea to do this. We just keep it on all bus rows and don't usually deviate from that. Reset assign. You can reset all to none over here if you just wanted to completely start from scratch, but that'll take everything to none, and you'll really be having to do a full setup. Whereas usually we just need to set up the first, let's say 10 or 12 inputs. But all to none will probably make you have to do a lot more work. Black right, we'll put black on the far right bus, probably just before the second button. Most people, I don't know, don't do that. I haven't seen that before. Black left, we'll put black on the first button.
Like Ox All will post to your Facebook account so all your friends will know that you like it.
Reset assignment, you just need to do very much, if anything at all, with this area. Insert can be handy. Insert will put, just like it sounds, we'll put an input in between where you have it highlighted. So if let's say input 8 was something that I had assigned, and I wanted to insert it in between without having to reassign everything all the way down, I can insert 8 now in between 2 and 3, and then you'll see it pushes everything else down, which can be kind of handy, especially if you add a third camera, let's say for a different show day or something like that, and it's only going to be there for a few hours. You put camera 3 in there, everything else pushes down, and then if that goes away, the delete button will then take that away again and push everything else back up on that bus like you had it before.
And that's a very basic explanation of how to assign your named inputs to buttons on the board.